David? Are we on? No. Just live stream.
Just give me a couple seconds, I have a dead battery here again.
Okay.
You're fine.
While he's doing that, I'm going to go ahead with this part here because, well, we can talk about it on live stream, but we have some of these little flyers for Chef Mark Anthony. He does a dinner and a message. It's Secrets of the Wellness Centers, you know, the wellness centers that help people reverse diabetes, increase energy, weight loss, and all that kind of stuff. So I'll pass these out here, and I'll mention it a little bit later in our live stream.
Martha, so he's gonna be an usher? Yeah, I knew that. Didn't know if he's gonna be an usher.
Yeah, it's not bad though.
Is it coming on?
Yeah, it's going good.
We on? Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We're really happy that you came to our Lost Skills program today, and it's going to be on pickling and fermentation. And we are going to be featuring James Petty, who has done a lot of pickling and fermenting and is learning more and more. So he's been teaching us some. My name's Martha Renfro, and the whole purpose of Lost Skills is to help us all to learn new skills that maybe our grandparents or great-grandparents did, but we no longer are learning them nowadays. And just to help us be a little bit more self-sufficient, not have to worry quite as much when there's we have financial problems in our home, or the grocery stores don't have what we need or whatever else. So just to be a little more aware and a little more self-sufficient in those things. So before we start, I do want to mention for those online, we have a flyer for Mark Anthony, Chef Mark Anthony, who is going to be presenting a dinner and a meal at the Elkhart Seventh-day Adventist Church. Dinner and a message. And bring me one because I forgot to.
Hold it down by those bowls and we can get it on the camera.
Okay. And it's 3601 East Bristol Street, Elkhart, Indiana, and it is Sunday, August 10th at 3 p.m. So, can you get it there?
This camera, Jane.
That camera there. Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
There we go. That's Elkhart Seventh-day Adventist Church, 3601 East Bristol Street, Elkhart, Indiana, and it's August 10th at 3 p.m. So, first of all, we're going to start with word of prayer. We always do so much better when the Lord is helping us. I feel that way. Dear Father in heaven, we thank you so much for all the things that you have given us, all the vegetables and the fruits and the skills that you have given us to be able to preserve them so we have them when in the winter time. I just ask that you will bless James as he presents this afternoon, that things will be clear and that people will be able to understand things well. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
One thing I forgot to do, and I will have somebody get, Melody, could you make sure people have a piece of paper so they can write down recipes? Because James is doing it off of here, a lot of things. So if you can get us,
Does everybody have one of these?
if you have the handout that you got out there, you can write on the back of that. The handout doesn't have his recipes, okay? So if you want a recipe, can you just get some paper out?
And pins, are there pins back there too?
You should find some, yeah. Okay. Go ahead, James.
All right. How many in the room have already done some pickling, some fermenting, things like that? Okay. What did you find was successful to you when you do your pickling?
Well, I'm here to learn how to do crispy pickles because
Okay.
I've done pickles in the past and don't do it anymore because they're always limp. And they're
Okay. All right. And most likely you water bathed them.
I don't even remember.
Okay, you don't even remember. Okay, the worst thing you can do to any pickle is to water bath it. I don't care what they tell you. You cook the pickle, and you get a pickle that is no good. It, great flavor. Okay, so one of the things we're going to be looking at is how to make pickles and still have them shelf stable, but not having them be wimps. Okay? One of the main ways of doing crispy pickles, there's several different crispy pickles. There is a sun pickle. That is where you take your whatever you're going to put in there for dill or whatever else, and you put your pickles in, and then you set it out in the sun. It sits out for 4 to 5 days at the most, 4 days, and then you take it from there and you put it in the refrigerator. So that is one way of doing it. You're going to get a crispy pickle because you never cooked it. But maybe you don't want to have your refrigerator be full of pickles. You like other things too. So you have to make them shelf stable. A way of making them shelf stable is called low temperature pasteurization. This is an FDA approved method, and they used to have it in their book. I don't know if they still do, but anyway, it's out there. And low temperature pasteurization is simply this. You put the jars just like you are going to regularly water bath them. You put them into the water, and you bring the water up to 180 degrees. You keep it between 180 and 185 for 30 minutes. Okay, so it's a longer period of time, but don't go above 185. Once you go above 185, you start to break it down, and it's going to start to cook, and you're going to end up with a wimpy pickle. Okay, something I did a devotional on this last week, and basically what I said is that a crunchy pickle is a good pickle, so a crunchy Christian is a good Christian. But if you want to be a crunchy Christian, you do have to have trials. But you have to have the amount of trials that is allotted to you by God, that this is what you can do, okay? And no more. So they still go through a trial. 180 degrees is not cold water. They still go through a trial, but it's what they can do and still come out being good. Anyway, that's that. The first thing that I have done is I have made a brine for pickled red onions. Okay? Okay, so red onions are a very flavorful pickle, basically, that you can use anytime. They're ready about 1 hour after you do them. So you're slicing them up, relatively thin slices. Can be a little thicker than this, but this is a great. You're gonna be slicing them up thin. I like them with the little peppercorns in there, a few peppercorns in there. Also, a couple. I like garlic and everything, so garlic. I put it in there, and then you just pack it as good as you can with just your fingers. Just pack it in there good, so that
Peppercorn? What is that?
peppercorn,
Okay.
peppercorn, black pepper,
Oh, black pepper.
unground black pepper.
Yeah, the little round ones.
Black pepper. Okay. I got it. Okay.
Okay, so it's just unground black pepper. That's all it is. Okay, in here I have 1 cup of apple cider vinegar, 1 cup of water. I have 1 tablespoon of salt, and I have about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of sugar, or you can also use honey or maple syrup. Okay? Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you how hard it is to put stuff in the jar. This is horrible. Okay? See? Take it out. Put it in the jar. Got it? Mustard seed. This is mustard seed.
A tablespoon of mustard seed.
Half tablespoon. One teaspoon to 1/2 tablespoon. Now this brine we've already made up on the stove. And Martha, could you hand me the red right there? Yeah. Thank you. Just make the hole bigger. Okay.
Is the brine hot or cold?
The brine is boiled, but it's only boiled to get rid of the sugar and salt that are in it to make them emulsify into the rest. And then it can go in hot or cold, does not matter. I prefer hot, not super hot, but I prefer definitely hot to the touch, because that breaks down the onion better. This will be ready in about 1 hour. Okay. This, you can get rid of this. All right. Now I'm going to give this to Martha. Essentially what I did is I made this as a 1/2 inch of headspace here. It just has to cover it, that's all. So we could even put just a tad bit more just to make sure everything is under the brine. Okay. The next thing we're going to do.
Are you going to can this or not?
No, that doesn't get canned. Okay. Maybe you guys dealt with your grandmother or somebody else having a crock. Okay? Crocks are very simple. They're easy to use. When you're using a jar which I will be using a jar for part of this. When you're using a jar, you have to have something that's going to release the gases from the cabbage as it ferments. Okay? If you do not have a self-releasing valve, it just means that every day or so you have to go back and screw the lid and put the lid back on.
Can you just keep it loose, like half partway screwed?
You can, but I tend to want to test it because they can seal. And if they seal and you don't know it, then it goes and does that. Okay, Martha.
Yes, I have, I leave mine not totally tight, but I take it every day. I take it off, just lift the lid and put it back on.
Okay, so we put salt on this. This is about a head and a half of cabbage. The normal ratio of salt to cabbage is 2%. So if you go to all the trouble to weigh it, then you can figure out what 2% of that is. If you have 100 grams, then you have 2 grams of salt. It's relatively simple. What the salt does is it brings out the moisture. You can see the moisture here on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. I can make it splash.
So was it about a small handful of salt that you used in there?
I sprinkled it one time, and Martha said, it doesn't seem like it's doing enough, so I hit it again.
Sprinkled?
Yeah, it's not rocket science.
Not exactly, a little stronger than when you sprinkle it, a little stronger than what you would salt your food.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now, in the crock are weights. These weights are used to hold the cabbage below the water line. So basically you have a self-made brine from this cabbage. It's very fresh cabbage. So you have a self-made brine from the salt. It pulls the moisture from the cabbage, and so you have less. It gets more and more limp as time goes by. And she did the massaging.
You just, it could take 10, 15 minutes, and you just keep mixing it and massaging it, squeezing it, bruising it.
And
some people say you pound it.
you can do that, and I've seen people that have those handles with a larger mallet on the end, and they'll just push on it. But basically, you're bruising it to where the
It
releases it.
with the salt helps.
So this is probably one of the easiest things you'll ever see. I mean, it is not hard to make. No, not really. You just have to do it slow.
So the inside is not glazed with the crock?
The whole thing is glazed.
The whole thing's glazed?
You will also find that you will actually get salt crystals that will form on the crock. Okay? It doesn't hurt anything. It just does that. And this is a very small batch for the crock.
Where did you get yours?
It's an Amish place. What's it called? Lehman's?
Oh, you went to Ohio?
Yeah, my mom did.
Nice.
So my mom called me up and she says, you know, I need you to tell me how you do cabbage. I'm like, okay, to make sauerkraut. I'm like, well, I can tell you about that. I said, you just cut it up and Put it in a jar. Put your salt over it. Put hot water over it. But that's basically what you do.
They say Lehman's is the place to go if you want all old-fashioned stuff. And I think it's a great tourist destination for that too.
What do you use, Martha? Do you have the craft or do you use something else?
It's very simple to do it in, yeah.
I did mine in jars, and I didn't have enough to. They said about 2/3. Fill it about 2/3 to leave it 1/3, and I didn't quite have enough, so I put it in 2 jars. I had too much for 1 jar, and I didn't have the nice weights there, so.
Now we are going to look into doing it that way because not everybody's going to have a crock. So I want people to see how to do it that way versus.
Yeah. So I went out into my driveway and found some really good rocks, and I scrubbed them up, and I, wrapped them well in saran wrap, and I put 2 rocks in each one. One thing you'll see him doing in a minute is on top here you have a cabbage leaf. The cabbage leaf helps hold all the little particles of
That's
sauerkraut down.
for the jar. For the jar, you have to have that, something that will help to hold it down.
Yeah.
So I have some brine here that I made. This is basically 2% brine, which is water. And so you have basically a little over a tablespoon. It's a little better than 2% because it's a little over a tablespoon to 1 cup of water. Okay. Salt. I'm sorry. Kosher salt. You
It's
can.
like the brine, sorry for my ignorance, I don't know the brine. What is it?
The brine is a solution that you make to do what you want it to do, whether you're wanting it to ferment or you're wanting it to can, you use a brine of some sort. If you're looking for it to ferment, then you want a saltwater brine. There's not usually vinegar in the brine, just water and salt. And the only reason that I'm doing this is because in here, I have water to the top of my cabbage, but I don't have it standing proud of so I have a cabbage layer, but it needs just a little bit more so that the water layer is above the cabbage layer. And it doesn't take much.
And as it ferments, you'll find, I had water clear up to here. As each day, it kind of went higher and higher.
Yep.
And
So
you can see bubbles in it.
with the crock, this is what is used to hold the cabbage below. Like she used a rock in hers. This is the weight that holds it down, and this doesn't have to be anything other than just there. You just take it and you put it in, and you have another one,
It's right there.
the other half. So as a whole, it won't fit through the hole. So they cut it in half so that you can fit it through the hole. So you're just basically looking at it to make sure that you have just a little bit of water above the cabbage. And the reason that you're doing that, putting the salt water above the cabbage, is when this ferments, it needs to be in an anaerobic environment. No oxygen. Okay? So hers, she used the rock, holds it below the water. There's no oxygen that gets to it.
And the cabbage leaf to hold it down.
Yep. This, it has the weights holding it below the water, no oxygen gets to it. As it ferments, the salt will protect the cabbage so that you don't get bad organisms, bacteria, to grow, okay? One of the jar methods is it's probably the wrong way to think of it, but a one-way valve that is on the top. They make mason lids. I went to the hardware store to try and get one, but they didn't have one. But anyway, it's a one-way valve. You put water in it, and as the gases are created, they go through this one-way valve and out, but the water keeps it from going back in. So that is one way of not having to go back and release it, okay? But a lot of us don't have the one-way valve, so you go and you release the pressure on these things, okay?
So how long, or maybe you're gonna get to it, how long are you gonna leave it?
These can 5 to 7 days, and then taste it, and see if it's where you want it. I like mine all the way up to 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, it's too pungent for me. But 5 to 7 days is the normal amount.
And I did mine for 4 days. I tested it, you know, it said to test it every day after 4 days, and then any day after that, and wherever you liked it. And I liked it okay that way, so I put it in the refrigerator. And after it gets in the refrigerator,
it still continues to ferment, but at a much, much slower rate. And it can stay there for a long time.
6 months or more. Yeah.
I've had kraut in my refrigerator upwards of a year, and it's still good.
Okay.
But they're not going to tell you that. They're going to tell you 6 months and you should be done with it. But I don't do very good with the.
Can to last longer?
You can be canned. If you are going to can it, you would water bath can it. And I don't know whether you can low temperature pasteurize it. I don't see why you couldn't, especially after it's fermented, that you couldn't low temperature pasteurize it, which would keep the crispness there. Because you've already fermented it, it's already to that point. These pickles here, when you buy pickles, a lot of times you don't have time to do everything all at once. Okay, so I made these pickles and I put the brine on them, set them out on my back porch, let them be there for 4 or 5 days. That's called a sun pickle or a refrigerator pickle. And these are actually processed. So I low temperature pasteurize these. These 2 jars here are shelf stable, because after you process them, they become shelf stable. I have 2 half gallons in my fridge that I did not process. They are simply refrigerator pickles. They can stay for a long time in the fridge, although they won't, but they can. So anyway, this is a way of spreading out the allocated time. The whole process of doing it is a lot of time. Maybe you don't have as much time, but maybe you can make the brine and wash the pickles, get the pickles in the jar and put the brine on it, set them aside. And you're going to come back to them in a few days, and you're going to do the low temperature pasteurization. And then then you have separated the time to where you don't have it all on the very same day.
And
Go ahead.
So, I was just thinking back, my grandpa used to do a big barrel of kraut. I
Mhm.
remember it being on his back breezeway.
Yep.
So he would have been doing the same process.
He is doing this process.
And then when it's done, and being that much kraut, he'd have to can it or something.
You have to
Certainly wouldn't put it in the fridge.
you have to can it or something if you're going to go from being there. But kraut will last a long time. It's not like it's going to go bad quickly. It will last.
It has to be in the fridge.
It has to be in the fridge if you want to slow it down. So the longer you leave it sit out at room temperature, the richer and heavier the flavors are going to be, the more pungent the flavor is. If you like that, that's fine. But if you like to have a little bit sweeter or a little bit more mild flavor, then make sure it gets in the fridge so that it slows down the pasteurization or the fermenting. Okay. All right. So that's basically the crock, and I wanted to show you
Do you still have to release the lid throughout
this on a crock. You don't.
in the refrigerator?
No. Once it goes in the fridge, it will not. I've never had one get enough pressure to do anything. But on a crock, there's a moat right here that you put water in, and then see how there's two little dips here on each side? So you put water in the moat, and then you put the lid in, and the lid sits in the water. And as long as the water is above the head of that, then that creates a one-way valve, like you would buy one if you were to do that. But in a crock, you don't have to worry about it because the water, the gases will go through that water, come out those little holes, and you don't have to.
How often do you have to check it so it doesn't evaporate?
Yeah, all you do is just look at it.
Oh, that water, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so is it like every 2 or 3 days? You
Yeah, I mean, just to make sure, it's usually in a cool place, so it's not. I've probably been greater part of a week, if not more. It doesn't evaporate real fast, so. And you can actually put quite a bit in it. I mean, the moat's a good 1.5 inches thick, and the actual thing is maybe like 3/8 of an inch. If you're good like my wife is with inches, I just said a bunch of Greek to you.
My grandmother had a big container
Mm-hmm.
for a crock.
Mm-hmm.
She just set a plate on top, with
Yep.
a big stone on top,
Yep.
and that seemed to work.
Yep. All it is something
Hold it down.
that will hold it down underneath the thing. When you buy a crock, it comes with the weight. If you don't have that, for the jars, if you're doing a jar and you are going to ferment it in the jar, what I've done here is I've put brine inside of a Ziploc bag. Okay? So I'm going to show you two other things. It's already 4:30. Look at it go.
you're doing good. You have another hour.
Okay. So I probably should. Okay. So sometimes you might come across something where you have cabbage and you need to use it, but you haven't used it, and it's like, okay, I need to do something with it, and I need to do it right now. Okay? So
Those are a
there's-
necessity.
there's no salt or anything on this cabbage. Okay, this is just plain cabbage, and so it's just fresh cabbage that's been cut up. Nothing major. You'll be surprised how much actually goes into these. This one, I'm not putting as much in the crock, or when you're wanting to ferment, you're wanting to press it hard. So it's really, really tight. This particular way of doing it is not as tight. So you're putting it in, you're filling it up, but you're not making it as tight.
James,
Yes.
can you use red cabbage?
You can, and I've done red cabbage before, but I find I like the white cabbage better. The red cabbage, I didn't care for it. I did it.
To taste?
Yeah, it just didn't taste
It's
as
a little
good to me.
A little stronger in taste usually.
But yes, it can be done. When I did it, it stayed in my refrigerator for a very long time, and then it went to my trash can. Okay, let's keep this by for right now.
They're more nutritious though, they say.
Okay. Now, this is a very simple recipe. You'll find it on Whippoorwill Homestead.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so it's a very simple recipe, and I need, where are my,
What do you need a spoon for?
these. Okay. So, it's easy to remember. You have a quart jar, you have filled it with cabbage, but you're not, see how it's got air, space? So it's not full. Okay? And you take it, and you simply put, I'm going to put that afterwards. I want my salt and the sugar.
A bowl?
Salt and sugar. So most sauerkrauts are fermented. This is basically a pickling style of sauerkraut, okay? Because you're using the vinegar to get you the acidity because you're doing it quicker, okay? So this is just a simple recipe just to get yourself past it. You take 1 tablespoon of sugar for the quart jar, 1 tablespoon of sugar. Okay. And check out how much of this would we need?
1 tablespoon.
1 tablespoon. See, told you this is an easy recipe. So 1 tablespoon of salt. The kosher salt is a little bit finer than your sea salts or things like that, so that it can get into the.
That the brine,
This is the vinegar,
vinegar.
and you need 1 tablespoon of vinegar.
If you cannot find or you don't have kosher salt and you want to do it, can you use canning salt?
You can definitely use canning salt. Kosher salt, canning salt is a little bit coarser, but is very good for pickling and things like this. It's the same, basically the same thing. When you look at kosher salt, here, I'll see if I find it. Okay, ingredients, salt. That's the end of it.
The biggest thing, you do not want iodized.
No, if you use iodized salt, your stuff is going to turn color later. And I don't know that it is actually bad for you, but you won't like it. Because when was the last time you pulled a brown pickle out and thought this is going to be something good? It just doesn't happen. So all that has to happen to this is you need to bring hot water up to the line, and then this gets water bathed afterwards.
Boiling water or just hot?
I believe that this one is boiling water.
If
So
you're gonna water bath it, it's
yeah,
if you're gonna water bath, it's probably better to put the boiling water in to get it hot and then put it in the,
How much
Okay. How much what?
boiling water?
Enough to cover the jar.
no, up to half.
Oh, you mean the hot water in the jar or the boiling water?
Yeah.
The hot water in the jar comes up to the 1/2 inch line, which is basically the lip on the jar. So you just bring it up to that level. The boiling water, the water bath, it comes and covers the whole thing. Comes above the top. Okay?
How long do you water bath last?
That is probably about 15 minutes, maybe 20. But it's just, it gets a jump start from the vinegar. That's all you're doing, getting a jump start from the vinegar. Okay, now the other one I was going to show you. No, I just got to make sure I do this right. Okay, what I'm going to show you here is if I was going to make sauerkraut, but I did not have a crock, okay? I didn't have a crock when I started making sauerkraut, so you make it without the crock, okay? So this one, I'm going to salt it. That's too much.
If you get too much salt in it, later on when you take it out, you can rinse it. That's what I've read.
Now, what I'm doing right now is bruising it or making it let go of some of its moisture, and it'll limp it up a bit too, also. Okay. Now the caraway seeds right here. Right there. Where's the red? Here. Okay. Now the caraway seeds.
Is it mixed in there?
Yeah. Just go ahead and put it in here.
What's that?
Caraway seed.
That's good.
Caraway seed is the seeds that you find in rye bread and stuff like that. It's a German thing, and they put it in sauerkraut sometimes.
So the German or Bavarian sauerkraut is, they make it a little bit sweeter. Now this is still a fermenting sauerkraut. It's not like the one that I just did there. It is not a fermenting, it's a canning sauerkraut.
You need something to tamp it down.
Yeah. Now, this isn't rocket science. It's not hard to do. What you do is you just take it and you get yourself one of these leaves. Now, normally you have more, and it would come all the way up to the top, and then you put the leaf in up here.
And wide mouth jars are easier.
So what you're doing with the leaf is you're putting it on top to force the main chopped cabbage to be below the water line. You're using the leaf as the bottom part of the seal. Okay. This is brine that I already made up, Okay, so you just pour the brine in. If it is a really this is pretty fresh because it made a good amount of water on for that one. The salt will make it create water. But because I didn't wait on this one, it's no problem to have the brine be above. Okay, now I did not go and get rocks.
You want to borrow mine?
Nope.
Oh, yeah.
What I did is I took brine and I put it in a Ziploc bag. So now I have the same thing that I used for the moisture in it is in the bag. So if the bag leaks or does whatever, it's no problem. You're not changing the ingredients at all. You just are putting a weight in. Okay? And it's a little too much.
A little bit.
You should be able to find a way to get into this thing. Now see, now all of the cabbage, even the leaf that I put in there is below the water line. So now everything that's in here is going to ferment, but I want,
Nothing will grow.
nothing will grow. But I want one. That's a little granulated sugar. And that's only because the Bavarian style is a slightly sweeter kraut. If you go into the store and you see a can of sauerkraut, the Bavarian ones will be sweeter. Okay. This is a half, so I did about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half. Had it been a full quart, I probably would have put a tablespoon in. But it's not, you're just changing the flavor is what you're doing, so it's not as pungent anymore. And that's the way the Germans like it. Okay. All right. Now the fun stuff. All right. If you would rinse this out. Oh yeah, should show them how to do that. All right. So when you're cutting your cabbage, I need a cutting board and a knife. Kind of doing this backwards, I'm sorry. You too could make a mess like me if you do this. Yep. Okay. So what you're doing with this is you cut the cabbage into quarters. So the first thing you do is you take off a couple of the leaves, 3 or 4 leaves, to get past the green. Okay. You can ferment the green; it doesn't hurt it. You can do that if you want. You can also, a lot of people put shredded carrots in the sauerkraut. That makes a nice flavor and will ferment real nice. So all you do you just. So what you're doing, you can do it however you want it. You can do big chunks, you can do thin chunks. I like it about this consistency. Okay? It's just the way I like my sauerkraut. But you can do it how you want it. You can have big pieces of leaves, little pieces of leaves, anything you want to do. As long as the water is above the leaves, when it ferments, you'll be fine. Okay? So that's basically how that works. You just go down, just make yourself nice, thin. And just keep going like that. So that's how you, this is what I was supposed to show you before I showed you the already done stuff. But that's all you do. Okay. Now, did you rinse this out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And these are washed, correct?
Yes, they're all washed.
Okay.
And what we did with the pickles, you wash them really well. I used not a real stiff brush, a little bit softer brush, because they get lots of grime from the ground. And then doing that, I put them in another pan of cold water, and then rinsed them again. So I basically rinsed them twice, or washed them and then rinsed them again, and then.
Okay. Also, on a pickle, the blossom end has enzymes that will make your pickle softer. It will wimp it up. And the blossom end, if you look at a pickle, let's see if I've got any that they missed. No. Okay.
Got some that hasn't been washed.
Oh, yeah, give me one that hasn't been washed or anything done to it. So you have where it was connected to the plant. Okay. You also have the next area where the blossom was. It could still be connected, but the blossom end, you take about anywhere from 1/8 to 1/4 inch and just take it off. That's the easiest way to do it. The blossom end is always lighter, so if you're doing a lot of pickles, you just pick it up and you're looking at it, and it's like, there's the dark end, there's the light end goes away. So see here how this is dark, and this is light, and this is your blossom end.
And here's a little end from picking.
That's still from the plant.
Yeah.
See how this is darker, this is lighter. And you can look at it too. They have just a small little circle on it. That's the blossom end. Okay. Now, if I was any better at hiding stuff from myself, here it is. Okay. The pickles, I like pickles with dill pickles. I like the mustard seed in it. I usually use about a tablespoon or a half teaspoon to a quart, or a tablespoon to a half gallon. So that's I like a garlicky pickle. I like the flavor of a garlicky pickle. So I put, especially in these, I put probably 5 or 6 of these in here. Garlics. So, celery seed. Put celery seed in the pickle in the jar. I like to put any seasoning that I'm doing, I like to put it in the bottom of the jar. And the reason that I like that is because when you put the dill in there on top, and then you put your cucumbers on top of that, and then it will hold the seasonings down below the brine, and you get, I think, a better.
You want the dill washed?
Yeah. Go ahead and rinse it off. That's a really nice dill, though. For this one, put 2 of those.
2 of these big ones?
Yeah.
What was this last seed again?
This is a celery seed.
Thank you.
Celery seed. Now, this one is Badia, and I believe this was purchased at one of what do they call that?
An Indian store? or-
No, not the Indian store. Gordon Foods.
Oh, Gordon Foods. Okay.
Yeah, I think we purchased that at Gordon Foods.
How much of the celery seed?
Just about 1 tablespoon.
And I just want to show you this dill. I got it up at, well, I live right next to Vilwalks Farm Market, and James told me that they had some. Well, by the time I got there, it had just been sold. So I went to Pigot's Farm Market on, if you go up the bypass to Napier Avenue and Benton Harbor, it's on the right. I just had to go where I knew we probably could get it. And they sell 1 stalk, which a stalk can be pretty big, for 50 cents. So I thought it was
It's a really good price.
really,
Vilwalks was selling that same stock for $4.
yeah.
Okay, so 50 cents is like,
It-
you got a steal.
It was very, very good. So, and their cucumbers were picked that day or the day before. This is one of the things, and on your handout, I put a whole bunch of little things that you can do to make sure your pickles stay fresh or crispy. And on the handout, it also says you want pickles picked that day within 24 hours of when you're doing it, if possible.
If not, the freshest you can get. Whatever is the freshest.
As far as the dill, I grew some this year and it's kind of looking brown. How long does it stay fresh?
Fresh?
Or how, I mean, can you use it when it gets brown and starts to dry? Or you just have to
When it's dry, probably not as much. If it has seeds, if it goes to seed, and it has the seeds up there, you know, where all these little flowers are, it'll have seeds on it. You can use that. It's a little stronger, but you can use it. Yeah.
The next thing I'm putting in is peppercorns. It's just black pepper that hasn't been ground. That's all a peppercorn is. So there's probably about 20 or so in my hand that I'm putting in here. If I was doing a quart jar, I would put like 10. Okay. Now, do you guys like spicier pickles, or do you like just more of a kosher pickle? Mild? Everybody's mild?
Yeah.
Okay. I do sometimes put red crushed red pepper flakes. That helps to get the oomph in it. Okay? But if nobody likes it, I'm not going to do that. Okay. Now, I believe I've got everything in here. And you just second guess yourself. You just look at it and just make sure you got everything.
What did you have? You had bay leaves.
Oh, where's that at? Okay. Now, I'm going to put bay leaves in here. Bay leaves help with the crispness. The reason that it helps with the crispness is there are tannins in the leaf, in the bay leaf, and I like the flavor of the bay leaf. So a lot of times, sometimes they'll put a grape leaf in it, even an oak leaf sometimes. But bay leaves is what's, what do you say, in my kitchen. So that's what I utilize. And I usually use one, but because this is a half gallon, I'm going to use like 3 of these. And you just put them in. No problem.
Grape leaf will do the same thing?
Grape leaf will do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't like bay leaf, grape leaf will do the same thing. And the way that I do them, you probably don't even have to do that. It's more of a,
And grape leaves, it can be wild grapes, or it can be the cultivated grapes, either one. Now, are you going to try to use about the same size pickles, or does it matter?
it doesn't matter too much, but you do try to use pretty close to the same size. All of these that you purchased are very good. So,
And if you're making smaller jars of things, just use the smaller ones. And some places you can pick out what sizes you want. Other places they have them in quart containers. So you kind of look and see, well, what's most in that quart, and you pick them out that way.
and you're just filling it up as best you can. Just
And that's whole pickles, right?
these are wholes, yes. I most of the time do not get as good a quality of pickles as Martha was able to find. So I usually half my pickles like this, because when they're a little bigger around, when they start to be this size, they're fine as far as crunchiness, but it's harder to get very many in the jar. So it just doesn't work well.
Use smaller jars.
Use smaller jars. That's a great idea.
And because I was doing pickles for just my husband and I, and he doesn't like dill pickles anyway. So I just put them in pints, and I cut them in wedges, smaller wedges. Just make sure they're all about the same size, similar size.
This brine is not ready yet.
Okay.
So follow the instructions on this brine, and then I usually get the Mrs. Wage's kosher dill or Polish dill. I like the kosher dill myself, but to me it's a little bit too pungent. I was looking at the ratios, and it's pretty much the same ratios. It's basically a 2-to-1 ratio of vinegar to water. So it's 3.5 cups of vinegar, 5% vinegar, and 7.5 cups of water. But so because I don't like the pungent flavor of that quite as well. I usually put about a half to 2/3 cup sugar in that mix of brine because I want a little bit softer flavor. It's just my own preference. I'm willing to not give you the heat, but I'm not willing to give you the other. Okay. So,
Can you just do less vinegar?
you can, but playing with the vinegar, you really need to have a recipe, and whether or not, to me, 2 to 1 is usually pretty close to the right amount, but you have to be careful that you don't lower the acidity too much by going less vinegar, because then it doesn't pickle quite the same.
Now, is this the apple vinegar again, or is
That's white vinegar,
white vinegar?
yes. Apple cider vinegar is what I'm about to do here. So with the apple cider vinegar is what you utilize for bread and butter pickles. During the Depression, that's when bread and butter pickles became prominent. They didn't have a lot of food, but they did have bread and they did have butter, and it tasted better if they put a bread and butter pickle on it. That's how it got its name, the bread and butter pickle, because it was for a bread and butter sandwich. So just one of those things. I'm just putting 1 garlic in here because I'm not looking for a garlicky flavor, but I like the flavor of garlic. So basically onions on the bottom.
What's that?
This is mustard seed.
Okay.
Is that a tablespoon?
Yes. Really. Now, bread and butter pickles are kind of yellowish, and that is the turmeric that's in them. Okay, so
Turmeric.
turmeric, yeah. And turmeric is quite strong, so I'm just going to put 1 teaspoon of the turmeric in for that amount.
And that's right.
Still peppercorns. This is about 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. And somewhere.
What do you need?
That one.
I put it out before.
Martha's being good to me. Okay, so this is the brine. The brine is 1 cup of white or apple cider vinegar, 1 cup of apple cider vinegar, 1 cup of water, 1 tablespoon of salt, a 1/4 to 1/2 cup of sugar goes into this brine. and a half cup of brown sugar, and then about a cup of regular sugar is in here. Did I butcher that enough for you? I think I did.
And we already heated up that brine earlier and mixed it in so that the sugar would dissolve and stuff. One thing that if you have brine left over and you don't have enough jars of pickles to use up all the brine, you can put it in the refrigerator, cover it, in the jar and put it in the refrigerator, and a few days later you can use it again for another batch of pickles.
Sometimes I throw it in the canner if I want to eat it for a long period of time. But let's say it's going to be a couple weeks or more.
Sure, yeah, I've seen.
If I have got room.
Can it? Yeah, that's a good idea. Then it saves it. And if you're doing similar things, and I didn't bring it today, but I make a zucchini relish, and it's like a sweet pickle relish, and use it for this kind of brine. You could use it for that too. If it's similar things, you can use it.
Okay, so once again, I put in my onions, I put in a garlic clove, I put in peppercorn, and I don't have mustard in here. So always look at your jar and see if you have what you think you want in there. It will probably work without what you're saying, but it won't be quite as nice. It just won't have the same flavor.
That's the mustard seed?
Yes. I did not put celery seed in that one, I don't think, but it's not the end of the world.
And it's all according to your taste, what you really like, what you don't.
Celery seed. And I'm not going to put the extra turmeric in this one. I'm just going to go on the brine because the brine has turmeric in it. So I might have made this too strong. It's not the end of the world. This is not rocket science. It's easy.
So is this another bread and butter you're doing?
Yes, this is another bread and butter.
Where do
So-
you get that many bay leaves?
Do you really want to know?
That look that fresh. You got it yourself and made it yourself.
No. And they are not fresh.
They look pretty good though.
These, I know that they're not fresh because they're at least 25 years old.
They look good.
Gives it the flavor.
There you go.
They're, what do they call that, aged?
We had an aunt who had a row of bushes of bay leaves, on her retaining wall or whatever, out in California. And I mean, we got big, long bay leaves, about that wide, big, long like that, And if it said one bay leaf, you either used a half or whatever. She dried them, and they were really nice. But I run out. Now, when you're canning these, you want to be careful. I see over here on his side of this jar, there's a big air pocket. And so one thing that you want to do when you're putting the brine in, first of all, you want to have them as tight as possible. But when you're putting the brine in, sometimes you have to put something down there, a knife or a chopstick or something like that to get the air out. That's what they call debubbling for canning.
Most of the time it's like a flat piece of plastic,
Yeah.
and then you just stick it on the edge of the jar and run around the edge.
Yeah, with your canning, if you get a set of canning utensils or whatever, that'll come with that, the debubbler.
There are about 5 left. That's not going to be that amount. Sorry.
Squish it
Oh, I can get them all in. Look at me. Look at me go. Look at me go. Okay.
But remember, when you do that, you want to have your 1/2 inch of head space. You don't want them sticking up high. Oh, you need more? You want
Yeah.
more water or what?
Let's go.
No, you need a little vinegar probably.
Yeah. Let's go. Hang on just a second. Let's put.
You want to make sure you have enough vinegar for your 5%,
Okay.
your ratio of acidity. And salt, just a little bit, and turmeric.
That's way too much salt. Okay.
Take some of that salt out.
Don't be afraid of it.
There's a paper towel there if you need it on the back.
Yes. Don't be afraid of it. If you do something and you think it's not right, just fix it.
Yeah.
Or start over. I mean, it's not.
It's just a tiny bit of
Yeah. And be careful with that one, because I can't get that one back out.
That's turmeric.
Yeah, that's too much.
And you have to be careful what you put around with it, because that'll stain.
Yeah. It used to be used for dye a lot of times, turmeric did. Okay. I'm going to put a little more sugar in it, and then let's put it on the heat, because I had to take out some of the sugar. Okay. Now what she's doing is putting it back on the heat to dissolve those things, and then we'll be done with that. I just put a few caraway seeds in this one.
That's just a different option for the bread and butter.
Mm-hmm. Is the dill brine ready?
Yes.
Okay.
This recipe you just said is a bread and butter pickle as well?
The one that I just did is a bread and butter pickle.
Okay.
That one there that looks yellow, that's a bread and butter. Just set it here.
Straw.
Now, did the sugar go in that?
The sugar in here? No, I did. No.
Okay.
You want sugar in there?
Yep. Okay, for that exact reason.
That vinegar is good.
Yeah, that exact reason. To me, the ratio of the vinegar to the water on the Mrs. Wages is too strong. This steam is very pungent. So,
So you cannot change how much vinegar and water you put in it.
but you can
Well,
dull the acid
well,
or sugar.
yeah. What I'm saying, you put sugar in it to.
To
Take
dull,
care of that.
yes, to dull it.
How much turmeric do you put in the brine?
In the brine, about a teaspoon in the brine. So a good solid teaspoon in the brine.
And that's
Did you put some turmeric in the jar too, or?
I did on this first jar.
Uh-huh,
It was kind of an accident, but I did do it.
okay.
So it's not the end of the world. It's just one of those things.
Smell good.
Okay, that one's in the with the red top.
Sugar.
I don't use a lot of sugar in my home, so I had to ask Martha to bring some. I had this thing, and I had a little blue thing over there. It's got sugar in it, but that's about it. And what I'm putting in is about a half a cup. Okay.
one thing I was going to mention or ask, because I don't use a lot of white sugar either. In fact, I had to look and I found
Yeah,
one
an
that
old.
was a little bit hard. I had to use a sifter, you know. But I use cane sugar, and I'm wondering.
Cane sugar can be utilized. It's not an issue.
Okay,
But I usually use the white sugar more because it is, what do you say, clearer.
clearer. Okay.
You know, the cane sugar, the brown sugar goes in the bread and butter. Normally have bread and butter has the brown sugar and the cane sugar, but the brown
white
sugar,
yeah.
yes, and the white sugar. So there are a more, what do you say?
A darker
color,
color. Yeah.
a deeper
yeah.
color. So if you're going to use turmeric or something like that, then yeah, use the darker color.
Yeah. Okay. One thing on your handout at the bottom of the second page, I think it is, you will find a reference there in our Seventh-day Adventist community. There has been issues. A lot of people have said, well, you shouldn't use so much vinegar and everything like that, because one of our founders who really promotes the health message, she talked about being careful about vinegar and things like that. This reference on YouTube that I gave you is a Seventh-day Adventist dietitian who is, she has her PhD, and she really is a, what? Yeah, she researched it very, very well, and a lot of other different topics about health and what Ellen White says about that. I put that in there so that if you're concerned about vinegar or trying to use lemon juice and for some of the things, that she gives a real balanced reason or balanced view. She basically says it's not bad to use a little bit of vinegar, and she has all the scientific stuff on there, and also the background, the historical background, because back in the 1880s when this was written, women's health was really bad. Their stomachs were just torn up and everything. And she talked about not using the vinegar, you know, the strong vinegars for it. Whereas things are a little bit different, but she gives a really balanced, and she supports what Ellen White has said about health, but yet she gives the balanced view of it. So.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know that vinegar is actually a low grade alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So on this particular jar, you'll notice that I have one that is a little bit tall, a little bit high. Okay? So I want everything to be below the brine level. I always remember that whatever you're doing, it's below the brine level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to cut that bad boy. Okay? So got the knife, see? And I'm just going to reach in here, cut it. Not that I won't use it, I'll still use it.
So how are you doing on your types of pickles? Is that the last one, or do you have another?
I need to do these halves, and then
Okay.
I'll be done with all
Okay, we're doing
types
just
of pickles.
about time.
Okay.
You've done well.
So this is a garlic peppercorn, has mustard seed in it. I actually have 2 heads of the garlic in it, and these are all
Heads of dill.
whole.
Heads of dill.
Heads of dill. These are all whole. When I did my pickles this last time, I was not able to find whole this size. This is absolutely beautiful. So,
Pigot's Farm Market.
yes, ma'am.
Have you ever done like, okay, let's just say you've got a few, but you need to store them and not have them go bad, and you throw them in the brine and sit them on your counter, and then a couple days later, you pull a few more off, can you stick them in after that, or do you need to keep the same timing?
You don't want to put a fresh pickle in with other different, you don't want to change the age of it. So usually when you do that, basically you're doing a sun pickle or a refrigerator pickle. And if you put fresh in it, now you have pickles that are only not old, not processed at all, not even started, and pickles that have already gone through time and are ready for the canning process. So if you're trying to get them to be able to can, you don't want to mix the ages.
So, but with sun ones, you could, sometimes I don't have enough to do, you know what I mean?
If I was going to do that and you didn't have enough, I would put it in the brine. If you have plenty of brine, put them in the brine and then put them in the refrigerator, because the refrigerator is going to keep them from doing anything quickly. Then if you're going to be a couple more days out, 3 or 4 days, it's not going to hurt it very much. But if you do it the sun pickle where you're putting it outside, the sun will cook it and seal that jar. So you're going to have differences in age. But if you did it in the refrigerator, I don't think you would have a problem. You could probably get away with it.
Especially if you were gonna can it afterward.
Yeah. I don't see why it wouldn't work if you put it in the refrigerator, and you're basically what you're doing is you're slowing down the process on the ones that are in there, and then you're putting fresh in there. But these ones haven't gone very far.
Right, that makes sense.
So.
I brought the dill out now. It was too heavy too heavy to stand up by itself earlier. So now that we've pulled some things off of it, it'll stand up by itself. It had to have the wall to lean against.
These are just absolutely, I can't believe how pretty these
Do you
pickles
want
are.
me to do that while you
Yeah,
go ahead with
yeah,
that?
that'd be great. Okay. These pickles that I'm going to do now is pretty much the same thing.
Did I bring the dipper out here? Did you have the dipper?
Yeah, it's right here.
Oh, thank you.
It will fall all the way in, so that's
Yes,
the reason
it
I put it. Okay, so the what I'm doing now are halves. Okay, so it's just the blossom end's been cut off, and then the pickle has been halved. I like halves as good, if not better, than the wholes, just because they're easier to put in the jar. It's just simpler. So let me get some. Yeah, you have your scissors? You have scissors somewhere?
Scissors?
Or whatever you're using. Just break it off.
Oh, for the dill?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, just break it off.
Okay. Okay. These ones are not going to be processed. These are simply refrigerator pickles or sun pickles. I want these as sun pickles myself. So what that means is you set them outside in the sun for 4 days, then you take them and you put them in the refrigerator. Okay, they're not processed, so they are not shelf stable.
Are they in full sun?
Full sun, yeah.
And you seal them like you would for canning?
You seal them like you would for canning, and they will actually take a seal. While they're in the sun, they will take a seal. When you go to put them in the fridge, it'll be sealed. You'll be like, huh, it's all sealed.
Do they unseal later?
No. No, they don't unseal later, but they're not shelf stable. So if you don't keep them in the refrigerator, they won't.
Full day, 4 days under the sun.
4 days in the sun.
Is it a cold pack or do you use more than one?
Nope, cold pack.
Have a cool day or two in between there?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You want to be at least 65 degrees or higher, but in the summertime, when you're actually doing pickles, you're hard pressed to get it 65 degrees, and that would only be at night, and wouldn't be very long. Okay, don't go away with that. That stays there. Okay. Now, these you use about the same amount, just 1 teaspoon, or 1 tablespoon, excuse me, each. I heard, what's that? It's mustard seed.
1 tablespoon mustard seed?
Yep. The celery seed, about a half tablespoon of celery seed per jar. Can be a tablespoon, doesn't matter. Peppercorns, I like about a teaspoon. When you're filling up these jars, it's easier to kind of lay them sideways a little bit and then just stick your pickles in there.
James, could you do slices?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, it doesn't matter how you cut it. It's just a preference. And it doesn't really change very much at all.
Slices or spears or, yeah, anything like that.
And if you find that you have more or less room in a jar and you need to do a different shape to make that jar work, then you just do a different shape. It's not the end of the world. It's just the end of those.
Do
I have 2 in each one.
in each jar?
The ones that I brought for tasting, those are sun pickles, but I only had 1 head of dill in each jar, and I had some actual dill weed in there also. I prefer the dill seed, but I didn't have it. So. You have a cutting board handy?
What do you need?
Cutting board?
I'm sorry.
Cutting board.
Okay. You have a knife?
Okay, so you see, I'm not happy with the level of the pickles. I have a good bit of room here, so I'm going to just change the shape of the pickles and go from these halves.
Sour.
No, good. You want to put them in tight.
One thing that I failed to mention, one of the big things it talks about for is making sure you have good pickles, crunchy pickles, is choosing a pickling cucumber. Not an eating cucumber that, just run-of-the-mill cucumbers. It is a pickling cucumber. Boston pickling, you've seen those names. Boston pickling cucumber. There are some others, and unfortunately I didn't get this link on there. But I found a lady on Pinterest who had who gave all these things that you should do. And it has to be the little pickling ones that have little, they have the little spines and the little indentations. These little bumps on them, That's the kind of pickles you want. Well, they call them pickles. They're not processed, but they do call them pickles.
Why do you want that? Is it because of the size of the seed?
Not
Yes.
just the size of the seeds, but they have less water in them. They have less water in them. And so that they are going to stay fresher, stay more, stay more crunchy because they don't have the water content that the slicers do. Wait, is that on there? Okay.
I'm glad you said that, or that I actually purposely choose against the
Oh.
I always look for ones that didn't write it when I was gonna plant it.
Yeah, yeah. So, you can have 2 different kinds of cucumbers. You like the slicers, and I personally like the slicers better for salads or for other things, But
It does make a difference for pickles.
yeah, it does.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you something. We've done a lot of different things with pickles. And what we're going to do, we're just going to do something simple. So a sun pickle is simply, if you have the ingredients, just stick them in there. Don't have to be okay. Did you see what I did? I simply put some dill, put some onion. I don't even have the garlic. It's just simply, these are going to be refrigerator pickles anyway, so.
That's refrigerated.
Mhm. All a refrigerator pickle means, all that means is it has to be stored in the refrigerator. That's all it means. So if you do a sun pickle where you put it out on the porch or wherever you find your sunlight, it's still a refrigerator pickle because it has not been processed. Okay. Okay. I'm not even measuring. Okay. All I'm doing is putting about half of the vinegar, and I'm going to fill up the rest with water. That's all I'm doing. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be special, nothing. You can do it real simply.
You want to talk about this real quick?
Yep, we can do that real fast. And this is not even a canning jar. This is a spaghetti jar. Okay. And the reason that I'm going back and forth with it is two reasons. One, mix the salt and to get air bubbles out from along the sides. Okay. So you can do that thing. That's how that works. Okay. All right. These will need to be filled.
Okay.
Okay.
With what?
With the brine here. Okay. The pickles, when you make pickles, what I talked about earlier is called low temperature pasteurization.
David?
I don't, so, can you see me here? Okay. So low temperature pasteurization is a way of making the pickles without cooking them. You get them between 180 to 185 temperature. So you need a thermometer of some sort. This is mine, it's just old fashioned, it's easy, it's just a regular thermometer. It's not like her fancy one. Stick it in the water, see what you come up to.
This is the other, it's a digital thermometer. I think I got it at Gordon Food Service or something like that.
Okay.
James,
Yes.
you're going to be putting lids on those and stuff like that and put that in it. Is there anything else you want to tell about? We can let people start getting their samples.
Sure. I don't think there is anything else that I haven't mentioned. But there are different ways to make pickles. I mean, you can make them and just put them in your refrigerator. You can take them and set them outside. That's called a sun pickle. You can ferment them in a crock like we're doing the cabbage here. I just didn't have enough room to do that. Okay.
I think for sake of, I think we'll kind of finish this off for the online. So I hope this has been, you have a better understanding about how to make pickles that are crunchy, and got some good ideas about that and the fermenting. And fermenting, you know, you really try to study into that, but that's the old way of preserving, you know, how they used to preserve things, salt fish and all that kind of stuff. So it's just, fermenting also is good for the gut. Fermented foods, you know, is good for gut health too, for the probiotic bacteria. So one thing we want to be thankful for, and we can say a prayer now and thank the Lord for what He's taught us, what He's shown, what all the foods that He has given us, and that this presentation went well. Dear Father in heaven, we thank you so much for your presence here today, and we thank you for the knowledge you give us, and help us to be discerning when we use foods. Pickles and fermentation are not the major part of our diet, but can be just a little bit here and there that help our bodies in different ways also. Thank you for the food we're going to consume, the samples, and I just pray that each person has a safe trip home today. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.